Hello, and welcome to Lullabies Liberation, Empowering the Black Experience in Healthcare, a podcast presented by Doula Community Alliance. I'm Mai Heath, naturopathic doctor, birth worker, childbirth educator, and executive director of Doula. This podcast is intended to get information out to our community, to reach more people, and also be a platform for those in the community to share their experiences, thoughts, and insights on topics to do with healthcare and well-being. The statements and point of views and perspectives are unique to each individual guest and are not necessarily representative of Doula Community Alliance. I'm joined today by my co-host and media veteran, Miss Natalie Battles. Welcome, Natalie.
Hey, happy to be here.
So happy to have you. And other special guests on our discussion today include community leader and birth worker, Miss Jessica Renels Morissette, and also executive director and dad, Mr. Wesley Rogers. Welcome, you all.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, glad to be here.
My name is Jessica Reynolds Morissette. I am from the west side of Chicago. I am a wellness practitioner and birth worker, aka doula. I also serve as executive assistant of Westside United, which is a healthcare collaborative committed to closing the life expectancy gap between residents of 10 Black and brown neighborhoods on Chicago's west side and the downtown loop. I'm happy to be here. We also have our annual convening held in June at Malcolm X College from 5 to 7, which will convene all of our hospital partners, CBOs, and the community.
So my name is Wesley Rogers, founder and executive director of Railroad Tracks Music Academy. What we have going on right now, we're working on this summer program as far as like harmony and healing through music. We're going to be partnering up with Chicago Park District as well as SBF Chicago, and just really teaching, kids music, production, and songwriting.
Awesome. So, as always, we have another amazing topic today. Now, this one I'm actually really, really excited to get into because of the hope, the optimism that I have after this conversation is had for things to change in the world, all right? So today we are talking about the roles of support systems. So we're talking about parents, we're talking about partners, we're talking about fathers, we're talking about doulas, and of course, midwives.
Yes, let's explore how Black fathers and loved ones can support maternal health during and after pregnancy, and how birth workers are improving outcomes for Black mothers, including how to access those services.
Absolutely. So again, we hopping in. So why is this conversation important? Like I told y'all, I'm really excited about this because for me, it's important because firsthand being a mother and experiencing the supports that we need and not experiencing the support, it opened my eyes up to one, the changes emotionally, physically that your body goes through, the postpartum portion where you're really just exhausted and you don't have a lot of the same energy that you had before. You're getting used to your new normal, and you don't necessarily think about that before. It's not something that unless you've had a baby already, it's not something that you think about. And so we do need special supports from our support systems, from the parents, from the doulas, from the midwives. So why do you all think this conversation is important?
I think it's important to remind one another to be a good village, right? We know we need a village. We know it takes a village, but what does it take to be a good and effective village member, villager?
Yes.
How can I learn ways to more effectively care for my loved ones? So I think in part that's why this is worth talking about.
That's a bar. That last piece right there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would say if I was to jump in, just, having these conversations and having open dialogue, just for one is kind of the first step, because just thinking about me, being a father and, just a struggle with, dealing with my quote unquote baby mama drama issues coming up, it's like, I kind of wish I had like somebody to talk to about this stuff. before, you know what I'm saying, everything hit the fan.
Because we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, it's really you learning on the job, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, at the end of the day, yeah, the child is still there regardless. So you still gotta, do what you gotta do, and you need to communicate with your other partner. And if y'all at odds, there's gonna be no communication. So, and that's really why I feel this is necessary. Because,
Communication is very important, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this topic is very important because all of these support systems are the next advocates. They're the advocates next to the birthing person, the mother. So when that person is, unable to advocate for themselves, then we need to equip, or we need to have someone equipped. And so, to Wes's point, I'm ready to talk because there's some equipping that needs to be
There's some equipping. There's some equipping. We got to get them ready. They ain't ready for war. All right. I love that. There's some equipping that needs to occur. I feel like for me, there's layers to it, right? And so if we're talking about how these support systems can help, or hopefully encouraging a listening audience member to step up and support, we're trying to equip them, okay? To do that is the different stages, right? So you have pregnancy. Let's start before pregnancy, right? Even before baby is conceived, if you're looking to conceive, because you get happy accidents or little miracles that pop up on you. But if you are looking to conceive, there's certain things that can be done that's not just on the birthing parent that can help prepare for the baby and give the baby the best chance. Like, I don't know if you all know, but you probably do. The man is actually responsible for a lot of the birthing milestones of the baby based on their health at the time of conception or even before. So I'll use, and this may trigger, but like miscarriages as an example. A lot of times, oftentimes, the birthing parent is the one blamed or looked at for miscarriages, but is actually the seed. It's the sperm that kind of dictates the health of that embryo as it grows. And we don't know that because we're not taught that.
Yeah,
right?
that part.
And so I think that's another reason why this conversation is so important, because again, we don't know what we don't know. So if we talk to men like, hey, if you want a healthy baby, you got to start getting healthy now. We're going to put the beer down, we're going to drink a little more water, we're going to exercise more, eat some fruits and vegetables so that we can get this seed together so that the baby can grow the way it needs to. And so that's even beforehand. But then you have the birthing process. And I think that goes into what you were saying, Jessica, about the advocacy, right? What is the birthing plan? The birthing parent shouldn't be the only one that knows the birthing plan, right? Or if you don't know as the birthing parent, you can't help your partner be prepared either. And I think that's where the midwives and the doula comes into play, helping guide the process and really helping the parents together decide what we want, what we don't want, and helping them speak up for themselves in the whole route of the 9 to 10 months that it takes to form the baby. Then you got post, right? And that's what I was talking about, that post care, right? Because you're different now. Like, as soon as the baby come out, you're different. You need help. When the baby's in there, you need help. If you can't bend down and put on your shoe, you need help, right? And so equipping and training partners and family and friends and people around that mother to tap in and connect and say, hey, do you need assistance here? Or having, like Wesley said, that communication of what do you need in this moment, and being able to step up and achieve what that person needs the whole way through, but especially after with the postpartum, because then you have postpartum depression and other things that can be settling in where people really, really need that support, let alone the physical supports, because it takes a lot to birth a whole person.
Yeah, I mean, start to finish. I mean, going back to the conception and that part of the conversation, it's true. The seed is important, and we can't often just think of the pot or the womb as being, where all the onus and responsibility is, because we have the responsibility of carrying the little ones. But the seed is important. I mean, from you were saying maybe some medical things or some physical things, but I'll say just being on the same page and knowing that you're in it together, that sort of things, where it's not just like, okay, I got to get right. It's that we're getting right. It's that this is really a joint project.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, an intentional project.
And one person shall not do all the work and turn in the assignment
Right.
for the team.
The group
No.
Yeah, and research is research. So I remember when I was in naturopathic medical school and in our research class, one of the things the professor was saying is that research can be adulterated and bastardized in a way that it can be used to support any argument.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you do have to, be mindful of that and scrutinize, how you do research and, what you look up and what sources that you use. But there is some research around, health. You were talking about alcohol, also smoking, whether it be tobacco or marijuana, and how it affects the motility or the sluggishness of the seed or of the sperm, and if the form and the shape of all those things, of the structure of the sperm and things like that. So on the clinical side, yes, we're not joking. Like, it is important
Serious.
it's serious. Like, it's important to put your best foot forward. It's important to emotionally be there as a partner in it together, have as much skin in the game, and to kind of work that journey together, for sure.
Yeah, I love that you added the mental component in there too, because it's trying. It's taxing. One, during the pregnancy, but then after the pregnancy. And it can be trying on both parents because your life just shifted. You both have a little crying baby in the house now and got to take turns, diapers, and who waking up at 2 a.m. and all the other things. So it definitely can be trying emotionally. So in that preparation, I would just add also adding in some mental preparation and maybe talking to a therapist or a counselor or even a midwife or a doula beforehand to help kind of guide you in what that process is going to be like, especially if you're a first-time parent.
If nothing else, so that you can look back and say, oh, you know what, I did everything that I could do. Maybe not everything panned out as I thought it would, but I can find some peace because, I made the effort to circumspect the situation, to be thorough. It mattered to me. I took the time to be intentional. So, the work that you put in, the effort that you put in isn't necessarily just for an outcome that you're looking for, but so that you feel good about that journey and process when you look back on it.
Absolutely. So what does support really look like? Like when we are idolizing or talking about, because I know we all kind of got to, I'm going to speak for myself. I ain't going to speak for y'all. I have an ideal in my mind of what a really supportive partnership looks like. I know you do. That's why I looked at you. I was like, I ain't going to speak for you, but girl, we kind of talked about it a little bit, Jessica. But what does it look like to you? And then, Wes, I want to hear it from you, too. What do you think it looks like for you being a father and having to support the birthing parent and the mother? But also, what do you think she's looking for, what she would need? So I'll open the floor to everybody, but I definitely want to hear from you as well.
As far as like what I feel that I should provide, I think I should definitely be, a support system and definitely have an understanding of like what she going through, but the reality, like when I was going through it, like I didn't even, have this, I was probably, I guess, too young to even, have this thought process. So it's like, I didn't even know, what she was going through. And we was kind of at odds too. So I'm probably a part of the problem, So it's like me looking at it, I wasn't very supportive because I was potentially contributing, to her, you know what I'm saying? Like potentially eventually, because she ended up having postpartum depression and stuff like that. And at the time, I didn't even know what it was, So it's like, it wasn't really like, Google was probably around, but it wasn't necessarily like something where I'm like researching and trying to figure it out and all this stuff, So I feel just being somebody who's open-minded and kind of just really knowing what experience that, she going, or being mindful about the experience. Because like you said, it's our first rodeo, so we don't necessarily know. So yeah, I would really try to just be supportive and not be a burden.
And thank you for your transparency and your honesty within that too, because we don't know. And sometimes, especially when we're younger, it's all about us, and we don't oftentimes empathize or really see what the people around us in general, let alone our partners, are really going through or what they really need. And I think as for women, it's up to us to be able to be advocates for ourselves and to speak up on what we need too. But then the other side of that is sometimes we don't even know.
Right. And I think it's a difficult situation because society ostracizes the man and Wesley, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they ostracize the man where it's just like he lays the seed and then for the rest of the perinatal process, like he's kind of non-existent.
You're done.
So so it's almost like there's a sense of like warfare, like the man has to kind of fight back against that like implicit bias where it's like, no, I'm just as much of a parent as the birthing person, the one that's carrying the child in the womb. And it almost, for me, what I would want is, I'm not helpless, but, I mean, I was young, but when I saw a lady that was like half my size walking so much faster than me, and I'm a fast walker, I realized there's just like, that was just one example of just something that I realized I'm not able to do right now. Mm-hmm. So I need help. Mm-hmm. I need someone that is intuitive, that can kind of almost see like, okay, like a caretaker. Mm-hmm. Okay, what is it that you need? Okay, I'll get it for you. If it's rubbing your feet, okay, do you have, researching. I didn't know everything, and I'm a birth worker. I'm involved, with mothers all the time. I have 10 nieces and nephews, so this has been a part of my life. But when I had my child,
It's different.
I'm researching. So I want him to be researching too, just as much. Like, I don't know, he doesn't know, so we're learning together. Be at the doctor's appointments, ask questions. Definitely come to my defense in the labor process. I want you to stand, this is your baby. Fight for it.
Lion.
Like, and your girl, or if y'all not together, the mother of your child.
Right.
So like, fight for us. Because this is life or death for us. Yeah.
Literally.
Postpartum, postpartum is rough. Because I'm like, good God. Have the grace of, is it Job? Whoever it is. It's
Grace. Somebody had grace,
I don't
be that
know
person.
what's going on. So maybe research, hey, baby, I think you might be going through. Well, no, you might get hit if you say that. So maybe don't do that. But maybe this is when the man has a support system so they can figure out how to deal with a lot of the hormones fluctuating. Because I just remember crying out of nowhere. And he's like, okay. The father of my child, he's just like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Like, and I'm like, I don't know what to do either, but like, hug me or something. Like, so it's a lot going on, and I'm empathetic. I can imagine that. Like, if I remove myself, it's a lot going on for the man too. But society don't care. He got to tough it up because it's all about her. And I wouldn't say that that's all the way fair. So I want to say that healthy. Or healthy. Because we need the man. We need them. We need the partner. Excuse me. We need the partner. So I'll stop there.
I think that's where the midwife and the doulas can really come in. If you can't afford it, like to have someone there to be the support for you both and to kind of walk you through what it's going to be like. Because again, even if I always say if it's your first time, but even if you have kids, each kid is different. Each birthing process is different. Postpartum for each one probably gonna be different. So I think having someone there, period, to kind of walk you through and talk you through, especially maybe if you didn't do it the way you thought you should have, or you learned more on the back end the first time, it's like, okay, this next time let's do it differently. It's never too late to get the support you need. But everything you said, yes, ma'am, all of that, it's the care for me. And something that you and Wesley both said was like having someone to talk to. Wesley, you mentioned, I believe on the first question, you were like, well, I didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, I didn't have that. And so for men and women through that process, or birthing parent or supportive partner, to have a village outside of the household that they can go and ask questions, and hopefully a village where you can get some adequate information and some support, because some people can talk crazy too. But it's the care. It's the care and the attentiveness to be willing to want that person to be okay, and the enthusiasm of getting the information. And if you don't know, let's look it up together. And what do you need in this moment? And again, having those conversations and keeping the lines of communication open of like, right now, I just ain't got it. And then that other person being able to step up and say, well, okay, I got it. And it won't always be that way. But sometimes you need somebody to carry 70, 80% because you just ain't got it today. But that's the conversation within that partnership you have to have, like, not right now. And the other person picks up the slack.
And you just mentioned like being able to afford partnerships that are in the healthcare space, your doulas, your midwives, and the idea is that a greater percentage of our population should be able to afford those with the new Medicaid coverage that is accessible or available in Illinois for midwives, for also certified professional midwives. It's been for certified nurse midwives, but then also for doulas. So there's still quite a bit of kind of sussing it out and trying to figure out those pathways are. But even, thinking about birth workers and the partnership there, I'd say to not have an agenda. You don't go in with an agenda. It's not about, I want her or them to have a water birth. I want them to have a vaginal birth. I want them to be unmedicated. It's not about what you want. It's about supporting them, kind of like Wes was saying, but supporting that birthing person, that mom, in whatever way they need. And a lot of that is getting them the information so that they can make informed decisions. I'd say partners also need to be able to identify their triggers, whether that be a birth work partner or a romantic partner, an intimate partner, a family member. Know how to identify your triggers and separate that from the support and the care that you're giving to that birthing person. And it is, it's important, the fairness and the healthiness of incorporating both parents or partners or whatnot, and centering them both. That is important. But I also say to really realize that you are there to center that birthing person, that the mom, the birthing person, that what they need. This is a time in their life that they really should be centered. That doesn't mean that we leave dads out or anything. What doulas would often say, we are not here to replace dads. We're not here to replace dads. And kind of like Natalie was bringing up, birth workers, doulas, midwives, we really should be looking at supporting the family as a whole, that family unit, because what I would always say I draw a dad in, in transition or a difficult moment in delivery. And I'd say there are certain things that only you can give her, whether it's the way you smell, whether it's the sound of your voice, whether it's the kiss or the touch or the pheromones, whatever. There's things that only you can give them. So what I'm going to do is help you be on your game so that you can be there showing up number one from them, whether that's making sure that you've eaten, making sure you've had time to sleep, making sure that you aren't burnt out, so you're not snapping folks and centering where you're at, and things like that. And for people who don't get along, you can still be involved in the birth process. In Doula, we developed a co-parenting birth plan. So there's a lot of items on there that you can discuss about, who can be in the room, who can't be in the room. Are we going to do video conference if it's, of a contentious situation where we can't be in the same physical space, or any other number of considerations to really kind of put the birthing person first so that they can ultimately put, the baby or the babies first.
I love that. I think that's really, really good, because what we have to talk about when we talk about partnerships and family dynamics and all the people that are the support systems, every family looks different. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to come at different lenses or look at it from different lenses and perspectives to help every type of family be able to be a good support system, no matter which way they're coming from, or if they're with the partner, if they're not with the partner, if they're doing it solo and their mother or their sisters or their family may be in the room or the space with them, of just saying, how do we support? And I love what you say, Maya, about the mother being at the center, because absolutely. And then it's also, if we're going back to the early parts of conception, the way that mother is treated directly affects the baby.
Yes.
And we cannot have this conversation without talking about this. I was doing some research and I'm watching videos, I'm doing all things, and I'm like, oh my God. So the food that the mother is eating, the nutrition that the mother is getting, but also the emotions of how the mother feels. So if she's in an environment where she feels mistreated or overlooked or not supported, or she's stressed out because she's doing everything, that directly affects the child. Yeah. So whether you're with that woman or not, you better make sure she good. You better make sure that you just put your feet up. Did you eat today? You get some water, because that affects your child. So definitely I agree with the fact that right now it is about her, and that the doula and the midwives and the supports in that way can aid in making sure the father is also, understand what's going on, is looked after, is taken care of as well. but it kind of is because she's carrying and birthing a whole baby right now.
Right. And it's a sense of just like empowering the man to kind of be that person, that support and care after. Because, if any caregiver, if you're not properly cared for,
Exactly.
you can't, pour out what you don't have. So just understanding, that the man is an integral part, but also, shifting. It should allow him to be able to shift his mindset to just be, centering on the birthing person. I think that's helpful. I just don't think society does a great job at doing that often, so it can make them feel defensive. But I won't speak for the man. I'm gonna throw that back.
No, it's cool. I would just say, just having, like you say, building a community, you know what I'm saying, and having the doula or the midwife, have it more so look like we are in community and we a village, because we looking out for, my wife or, my significant other to birth our child, you know what I'm saying? So just really looking at it from that perspective and not, because I think it get kind of messed up because people would start like, it's like they're in competition and stuff, and it, you know what I'm saying. I haven't been in that, but I can only imagine, like a dude, like me speaking from a man, and like this lady, just coming, she's helping my wife, but I'm looking at, I'm jealous now, you know what I'm saying. So just looking at it from that perspective, so I could probably see them button heads and stuff like that, and then. Yeah.
I feel like we got to think about what Mai said too, and I had a moment on that one where she was like, "You got to check your triggers."
Yeah.
Like that's so important, just in general in life and partnerships, period. But especially when emotions are heightened, stress is heightened, all these things are heightened. You got to have that communication that Wes mentioned earlier, but you got to know and be able to step away and manage your emotions at a whole nother level when we're talking about pregnancy for both parties, the carrying partner or the supportive partner. You got to be able to, let me check that. I'm going to step away, take a breath, come back. Let's talk it through. Well, I was triggered by this. Has nothing to do with what you did or how you feel. This was how I triggered. But moving forward, if we could do this, like we got to learn how to have those real conversations with each other without just lashing out or causing blame or any of those things. I had a similar conversation with my 7-year-old in the car just yesterday. Heightened. I was running. I was late. We got to get everything going. I'm going, moving. And he asked me randomly, while the street was closed, I got to find an alternate route to school. We already late. And he says something like, the couple times you be late picking me up, why you be late? Out of nowhere. I'm like, what? So I just was quiet for a second. And he was like, did you hear me? And I was like, yes, son. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was triggered by what you just said. And he's like, I'm sorry. I was like, it's not about you and what you said. That was important to you, for you to ask me that. It was. But for me, in the moment that I'm in right now, I had to breathe on it and think about what I wanted to say to you. And so, like, having that conversation with him, though, helps him understand, like, oh, okay. So if he experienced something like that, he can understand the words and how to say it and what that looks like. And we got to start having those conversations with our partners.
Definitely.
For real.
You speaking to some emotional maturity. That
Yes,
has to be,
ma'am.
just some interpersonal skills that, a lot of the relationships don't last within them first couple of years. I was reading up on, at postpartum, just because there's a lot going on. And if we haven't had that, that coaching or that ability to, effectively communicate, that's not going to happen in the postpartum world.
Listen, I'm not going to hold you. I got divorced. We just going to keep it on it. That's my truth, y'all. Yeah.
But I think just having more dialogue about it, especially amongst the men, because like I said, it's sad, but like I say, when I was going through the issues with my daughter's mother, like my guys, they weren't a support system. You know what I'm saying? They kind of was, making me do, not making, but you know what I'm saying? They was kind of fueling the fire, So, and that's kind of why I kind of, looking back at it now, like, and just seeing, everything is cool now, but like I said, looking back and really wishing that I could change probably everything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily an open dialogue. And then, like you all, the women probably talk about it, but like I said, I think it's more on the men, you know, to like us to talk about it and for it to not be something that we tripping on, you know, because it's like a lot of times, like I said, a lot of my guys, because they knew my daughter's mother, and you know, like we all had mutual friends, so you know how that would be, so it would just be crazy, like toxic, you know. So I think just really like, you know, stepping away from that, you know, and just really looking at, you know, we finna bring like a whole baby into the world, and we need to, you know, like grow up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
like, you know, look at it from a different perspective, you know, and like to really sum it up, like later, like I would say when my daughter was like maybe like 5, I dealt with a woman who was going through a divorce, you know, and she was more mature than me, and like these were the type of conversations that, you know, she said that her and her ex-husband had, you know, so it's like just having these communications about, you know, this serious stuff, even though just say me and my daughter's mother are beefing, but like we need to like make it right for, you know, for our child at the end of the day. So I think, yeah.
If you have similar, or if your priorities are aligned, it really helps. And it helps to be able to go back to what those priorities are. It's easy for us to just be like, well, put the baby first, or, you know, what, but it's like, what does that look like? How do I put that into action? You know, like, and what do I do that sets me back from that so that we don't do that? Like having that kind of conversation, and having those conversations when you're not in a heightened time, you know, like when it's like, okay, you know, we're good right now. Let's, you know, be of the presence of mind and come from a place where we just want to get better. And, you know, and just be like, what are the priorities? Because when you got competing priorities and they are wildly different, then resentment and so many different issues that where you're not able to, well, be supportive and care for one another. Yeah.
I think one thing that was mentioned was like the support system of the support system. And that kind of goes back to what you all were saying before about having someone to talk to. And then the quality of that support system for the support system. Because like you said, your homies probably wasn't leading you the best way, you know? And that's real though. So like being mindful of the people, and you can, not saying you can't never hang out with them people, but I feel like you got to put people in pockets. Like, okay, this is the turn up pocket over here. I'm going to holler at you on a Saturday evening, you know what I'm saying? Over here, this is my wise wisdom group. And when I got some real issues, I'm going to come to get some support from you, and kind of put them in pockets. But we have to talk about the support systems for the support systems. I don't think we can just leave that astray. And then going back to the doulas and the midwives and what roles they play within the family, because that's one that you can for sure have during that time. Again, before the baby, during the pregnancy, and then postpartum as well. So how do you all think that, in what ways do you think that midwives and doulas really support the family during that entire birthing journey?
One thing, it's because you're removed somewhat. I mean, unless you're like doula is someone in your family or a close personal friend, which would have pros and cons. But, you know, generally speaking, you're removed. You have some space in between what you're observing a family experience and, you know, what you're experiencing or how you're showing up for them. So that can be very helpful. Also, you know, birth is work. I won't say it's hard just because I don't want to put that energy out there, but it's work. It's labor intensive. Building a person is labor intensive. And for doulas to be able to kind of help facilitate that, or help just people be able to craft that in the way that they want, is super helpful.
So what ways do you all think doulas support before, during, and after pregnancy, or the ways that they can support the entire family?
Doulas definitely can provide resources, information, direct, the families to any support, like, during, or I would say in the prenatal process. I am a doula, so I am a huge advocate of supporting the significant other, the father, whoever that may be in the process, to kind of just guide them on how to support the birthing person. We can switch off on times. Brought up a great point that there are certain things that only
the significant other, the partner can do, and just kind of coaching them to be, or guiding them to be able to do that, but also giving them breaks. So coming in, filling in so they can go home, shower, eat, sleep, all of those things. Encouraging the mother, or the birthing person to allow them to do that. There was one time where I had to kind of, politely or gently convince, hey, he needs to be 100% for you. So I want you to allow him, because she was like, he doesn't get to leave. I'm the one, I can't leave the hospital. And she was serious about it, and I wasn't mad at her. But also just coming from experience, being, a person myself that is a mother that has birthed a child, like helping her understand in a way that probably came off a little bit better than, how he was gonna petition it. Actually, he was just like, can you please explain? Can you please talk to her? Can you please? And I'm like, I got you. And so she's like, okay, he was able to come back 100%. So just being able to guide, if it's not the, significant other, then, other family members, and just kind of helping guide them through, especially, in the postpartum period, the same kind of applies for other things. So.
Doulas can role model appropriate behavior. Like we show how to interact with people. We can of course share information and things like that, but showing how to interact in like the tone that you set with providers, the tone and the boundaries that you're able to set with loved ones. I had a bit of a brain fart earlier, but what I was getting at is that doulas can also be so helpful, because while labor is work, we are able to be a rock for someone when they're going through intense sensations or they're going through that work. If you're with your loved one, your intimate partner, your mom or sister, and you're going through it and you're having, difficult, it hurts or whatever, it can be very hard for them to see you in that compromised situation. So they might be like, okay, let's throw this plan out the window. Let's just get you this or that or whatever. Whereas that might not be what you really want. So having that bit of distance, but still being involved in the community, still caring, likely still having been in these people's home, breathed their air, maybe ate their food. You're close enough, but you have that space where you can be like, okay, I can see you in a compromised position. I know this is pain with a purpose. I know you need to be here to do these things. So yeah, I wanted to share that thought.
No, I think that's very important to remember too. And then similar to what Jessica was saying about this personal story you gave on kind of guiding the mother to let her, it's okay, he needs to go get some rest so he can come back and be 100 for you. You were advocating for him in that moment. So I think most of the time when we think about doulas, we think about the doulas advocating for the birthing parent, right? Which is absolutely 100% the case, but also advocating for the support systems as well, so that everyone can get what they need. So as we get ready to round out, thank y'all. This has been a great conversation. Hopes and dreams for this conversation's achieved, okay?
Yeah.
What are some closing remarks that you all want to give, or any resources for anyone that may be listening?
I jump in because I like with the last one, like just being like an advocate and an ally with the doula or the midwife, like Jessica was mentioning, the husband wanted to go, he needed a break, and the wife said he can't go. So, just having someone who understands, who could, talk to her so, he doesn't have to do it and then, like you said, upset her and then,
Keep the peace.
But just really like, just
buffer.
really like
Buffer is a good word.
Yeah, having that buffer to kind of just, keep the peace going. But like you said, somebody who understands her more from a woman perspective, but can also be my ally and come, like a big sister or a little sister, tell me what I need to know, so I can make everything cool.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, Wesley mentioned earlier just about like the village, and I thought of like, allyship. Like we're all in this together. So all of the birthing person and the support system, we're all like, we're one community caring for each other, making sure we're all good and keeping that peace, right? But working toward a common goal, and I'll leave it at that.
It's a beautiful place to leave it. Working towards a common goal, identifying your priorities, making sure they're not conflicting. I think those are really, really good takeaways. So yeah, I'll just echo those things for sure. But looking at our community as a community, as a village, and seeing each other as resources and tools in a way, and finding a safe space with one another. I think that those are other things that you can look forward to when you set up partnerships in this way.
Absolutely. I think we learned a lot. I hope everyone listening learned a lot. What was the word we used earlier? What are we doing? We're equipping them. We're equipping them. I hope you all feel equipped after this conversation to be a good support system, whether you're a mom supporting a birthing person, a partner, relationship partner, a sibling, a spouse. I hope you feel secure in being able to communicate calmly and clearly, checking your traumas at the door, and being an effective, active caregiver to the people in your lives that is doing probably one of the hardest jobs in the world, which is carrying and birthing a whole little person. So thank y'all for being here. We hope you all join us for the next episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, for sure. Make sure to stay connected with us at Indula through our social media, through our newsletter, and make good use of the resources on our website. We have a reproductive sexual justice toolkit on there, as well as our information for our Legacy Wellness Warm Line. This is a non-emergent line that you all can reach out to speak to birth workers, patient advocates, to help prepare you for your healthcare appointments or debrief. That number is 312-834-3222. So again, thank you so much for listening in. Thank you to our supporters and our sponsors. And please check out the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe.